And we used to be the ones looking for guidance, and now
Yeah.
that's the tables have turned a little bit, which I feel bad for them. That's what they're doing. Like these are the jackasses that we have to get guidance from.
Each person has their quirks and their negatives and the things that they're not bad habits, and you may be fighting those your whole life, and probably will. I have mine, but to be able to know, I wish I would have known at 25 that I had a superpower.
At 25, I listen to everybody's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that gave me some kind of advice. You had your buddy that hasn't accomplished anything yet because he's in the same spot as you.
Like I wasn't ruminating about it, but it was too much. Where I should have just been focused on, no, this is who I am. And I think that's part of the problem. At 25, I don't think I knew exactly who I was.
And I think when you're young, at 25, I used to do that a lot to people and be like, well, I don't know if I want to associate with that person because, I saw him pick his nose once. That's the magic.
Yeah, doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to be here.
Yeah. We got we got cool topics.
Yeah.
Topic today, but I wanted to talk today about just kind of getting your take on the youth. It's something in my life that I've been going through, and something that we see when we got new blood as we get older. Now we're getting a little grayer, a little more experienced, and we used to be the ones looking for guidance, and now that's the tables have turned a little bit, which I feel bad for them. That's what they're doing. Like these are the jackasses that we have to get guidance from. But I'm noticing it
means we're getting old.
It means we're getting old.
So that's not the best.
You start to
I actually love it.
You start to see the age, and I feel it when you sit down and when you get up and when you just walk to go get a drink of water. You're like, man, I feel those years. Those years are on. But
wisdom.
But thinking about we have 20-year-olds. They're coming into the business.
Yeah.
When they have a 2 in their age, you're like, man, like it's envious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, you got so much ahead of you and aspirations and time and experience to have. But there's a big difference from now getting to think of where we are at today and how much we got a long way to go always. I mean, I think in life you always have a long way to go. Mm-hmm. But from where you are in your 20s, what were you like in your 20s compared to now? And you get to think with people where they'll be 25 years old. Let's just use 25. So 25 to now.
Yeah.
And 40, 40, I'm 47. So if you're 25 to now, what are the differences? And if you think back on, man, the way I process things and the way I was when I was 25, and lots of times a message to a 25-year-old, I'm like, man, you're antsy because you think you should have your shit together by now. Mm-hmm. You think that you're, man, I'm supposed to have it all put together. I'm 25. I'm going to be 30 soon. That was always once I'm 30, you're starting to plan for retirement. It's so silly kind of how we process it in the youth and not understanding how much time and how young we are. When you're 25, what were you like when you at 25 years old compared to now, if you think of examples of how you process things or what got you riled up or what got you pissed off or what you worried about and what you were concerned about. I think for me was I was always concerned about, well, I don't know if I want to do that because what does everybody else think? Mm-hmm. Like you've got this whole list of people that you think are focused on your whole life and every move and or have some kind of opinion about it. And they don't really. I think at 25, I don't think you realize that people are really consumed with what they're doing and how they're zigging and zagging. And they might jump in with an opinion, but they're really not focused on whether you're doing it right or...
As you're concerned about your own stuff, they're equally concerned about theirs.
Yeah.
They're not like, I wonder if Derek's accomplishing his goals. And then if he does, then I will. Yeah. They're like, no, I got what my things are. Yeah, I get it, man. I think for me, the thing that I was, if I look back at as a trait, I probably was, I was people pleasing to the nines. I really, really wanted to make sure that everyone liked me, liked my decisions. hey friends, do you like that I'm turning into a mortgage broker? Like, do you think that's cool? Like, do you think that's okay? I just what I'm deciding right now. And like, you're wanting this validation all over the place. And I don't think I did it in an unhealthy way. Like, I wasn't like I was tortured by what did people think, but I overcared. It was very important to me to make sure that all these things were looking good to other people. They're like, hey, do you like the career? Oh, you're impressed by it? Okay, then I'll stay. You know, like those sorts of things. And so I think I put way too much value into what you had said earlier is that I really want to consume myself in a healthy way with too much of outside opinion. Like I wasn't ruminating about it, but it was too much where I should have just been focused on, no, this is who I am. And I think that's part of the problem. At 25, I don't think I knew exactly who I was. I didn't have big successes yet. I didn't have like a breakthrough moment yet. So you're kind of floundering. You're like, I think this is my identity. I think maybe I am an entrepreneur and I kind of like this, but it's all so new. And you know, you're newly married. There's like lots of, your headspace is pulled in a lot of directions. And so, yeah, that would be my big thing though. And like, I care less and less about that each year. As I look back now, I'm like, oh man, I remember how much I cared what people thought at 30 and then 35. And now 40. Like, you start looking at it every 5 years. I look back, I'm like, oh man, I cared way less there. Oh, even less there. And then you start to be more comfortable in your skin. And like, oh no, I like who I am. And I don't need that validation. I would like outside opinion. Like if you were like, dude, you're acting a little bit crazy. You know, like, or that was a terrible decision that you just made. I can't believe you invested in that. Or whatever the conversation is. I love support and community and like talking through stuff, but I trust my gut now, or I trust my research, or have a few people that you go to, but to like really think about, is everyone liking what I'm doing right now? Those days are gone. Thank God.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that like as every year, like you said, when you go is where you're like, you know, I know who I am, but also like when you said what everybody thinks. I think as I got older, from 25, at 25, I listened to everybody's opinion. Mm-hmm. Everybody that gave me some kind of advice. You got your buddy that hasn't accomplished anything yet because he's in the same spot as you. Yeah. Giving you advice, and I don't know if I do that. And you're taking it to heart because you're like, my buddy doesn't think it's a good idea, and it's like, well, he doesn't know shit either. Like you're both talking without knowing anything, which is okay, but just understand that. Don't steer each other because you both don't know what you're doing yet. Yeah. You know, at that age, I find that every year and like you said, it's almost every 5 years, you grow a little bit more throughout those 5 years. But I started to learn who to take advice from because there were some people that would chime in with advice and I would know, oh no, that's not an individual that can steer me in any way. Yeah. But then to also understand which individuals can steer you, which individuals do have some wisdom to give you. Yeah. Right. Like and for me, it was always learning too that age didn't just graduate someone into being able to give me advice. Mm-hmm. Like just because you're 20 years older than me doesn't mean that I give a shit what you think. And it took me a long time to learn that because when you're young, you're like, wow, I mean, that person's 50. Yeah. They've got a lot of wisdom. Do they? Yeah. You know, they might have a lot of wisdom in something, but do they have a lot of wisdom in what you need at that moment? And I think, as I got older, I started to learn, no, I'm not taking advice from that person. And sometimes it would be based on character. I learned that a lot too, is to say that's not who that person doesn't align with my moral standard or how I like to treat people or how I like that person doesn't align with how I like to live my life. So therefore, their view of the world isn't something that I'm interested in. Yeah. And I will just grab. There's tons of people that think the way you think. We've talked about that lots before. You know, there's tons of people that think exactly the way you think. Find the people ahead of you that think like that. Yeah. And then they can guide you. So I think that would be a big difference for me also, is learning who to take advice from. Oh, 100%. It's just not everybody.
And I think that even to that point, as I confused knowledge and wisdom for so long, is that people would come across very intelligent, very smart, IQ through the roof, and so they're telling you all this stuff. And so maybe book smart, and yet not wise in their in the knowledge that they're providing, because it wouldn't be applicable, or it wouldn't actually be what was right for me or for you in that moment. And so listening to wisdom now, and knowledge is great, but they're two separate things. Is that someone can then spit out all of this crazy thoughts and ideas and like be well read, and you're like, man, that is just not, that's not thought through, that's not applicable in this, like it's just not, that's not a wise decision what you're asking me to do. You're just telling me you sound very knowledgeable,
right, but
this isn't the right fit.
Yeah,
this isn't my value right here. And how are you not seeing that?
How are you not seeing?
But I confuse the two.
Or there's so many people that you've talked to where you sit in a pub and you have a pint with them and they know a lot of shit, but they've done nothing. They go home to their mom's basement.
Totally.
They have no courage to actually go out and do it. They don't actually know how it'd be applicable in life.
Yeah.
They just have an opinion about it because they've read lots about it.
Yeah.
But they don't actually have, well, do you know what happens when you try that thing that you're telling everyone they're dumb for not doing, and then you get punched in the face? Do you know how you would respond?
Yeah.
To the bumps and bruises and tripping over that and having, having a failure or two under your belts because it all made sense when you read it and then you went to do it. Yeah. And the market or the way you did it said this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Right. But it always looks good on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And it always looks good in a little timeline.
Yeah.
Look at this. Works out perfect.
So true.
And then you actually try and execute. So there is that where, and I think that sometimes with, I'd say being 25, I had a lot of that as well, where I had a lot of opinions. But not a lot of courage at that time to actually step out and do it. So I would judge everybody around me internally. I was raised well enough to not be a dick externally.
Yeah.
But internally, I'm like, wow, I mean, that just looks stupid. Or you see somebody that has a little bit of success. Well, that guy's probably an asshole. I don't know how many people in your youth are like, wow, that guy, I can see the way he carries himself. He's probably a jerk. But you didn't say hi. You didn't introduce yourself. You didn't talk to them.
Yeah.
And I think as I got older, what I learned, from youth to now, is I don't think anything of anyone until I actually have a conversation with them. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they're an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a bad day that I met them or if they're a jerk, because I've never had a conversation with them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
And that, I think when you're comfortable with who you are as you get older, you're good with that. No, I actually don't know that answer. Well, probably though. When you're 25, probably though, right? Like, look at them. They think they're hot shit. It's like, well, maybe they don't. Yeah. And there's so many times that I always joke, like, you see somebody that's in your industry or doing similar things to you that are really successful. And when I meet them, I'm always like, man, I hope they're an asshole, because I just want to poke one hole into this incredible individual. And then you meet them and they're ridiculously nice and they're kind and they're humble, and you're like, damn it. That guy's just better. He's just really good.
I know.
That's
a good guy. I'm glad I talked to him.
I'm glad I talked to him.
Man.
But man, I was really hoping I could be like, yeah, but he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And look at all the tax he pays.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's a personality thing for us, but I feel the same way, is that my absolutes, like the ultimate truths, they're so little now. Like, everything was an absolute truth for me back in the day at 25, whether it was work or friendship or religion or marriage or whatever it was, anything that I was into, I'm like, this is the way. And I don't know if that's like a natural progression of life and you like figuring out the way that the world works. But now it's like, oh man, there's very little. There's a mentor of mine, he held his hands like this. He's like, there's less and less in this like this is like 100% right. These are the absolute truths. He's like, each year there's less and less in this hand, and there's more in this open hand that I'm willing for ideas and knowledge and information to come and go. He's like, there's more in this hand and there's very little left in this, but it used to be full of things that hold on to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's exactly how I feel, is that as you get older, like, well, is that the career for that person? Maybe. Amazing. Good for them. They're happy.
Yeah.
Is this the way to be able to do friendship and marriage and like all these or raise a kid this way? Like, I don't know. Like, we're all just trying to, we're a human species trying to figure it out. So like, those are the things that I've noticed as well, is just letting go of these big ideas that I need it to be this. No, man, let people live their life. You get one of them, enjoy it. That person wants to live it that way. This person wants to live it this way. Amazing.
And I think you start to experience what really matters, and I think that's part of it too, I mean, it's you know, whether you're you know, whether you start to build a family, whether you don't, but as no matter which path you take,
Yeah.
for your own personal self, as you go, you start to learn what matters and what matters to you, and what doesn't matter to you. And when you're, I think when I was 25, I would say everything was I looked at it in a negative lens. Yeah, but well, this isn't that great, you know, like. And so I'm like, and now I don't look at it in the negative light. I'm like, yeah, but that maybe that works for them, or maybe that's good for them.
Yeah.
You kind of look at it in the positive spin of, well, it's probably not my cup of tea. It's probably not something that I would do, but if they're happy and that works for them, I guess that works for them. That's just who they are.
Yeah.
And then you look for the good in other people, as far as, yeah, but there's all this good stuff about that person, and maybe this is something that their style doesn't match my style, but that doesn't make it wrong. That's just their style, and you just learn to accept that about people, or not, you know, like, and then you can kind of, but you don't let it bother you either way. You just, that's just somebody I want to be connected with, and they've got some styles that I don't like, or that's somebody that, oh, that's interesting, I probably would never connect with that person, and then you both carry on with your lives just fine. Nobody's life is any lesser because you happen to have differences, but I find when you start to see the world in more of the positive light, you're I think that's what makes us more relaxed. I think for me, that's what makes me more relaxed. I'm like, well, that doesn't bother me. That's just who they are. Who cares? What does that matter?
Yeah. Right.
If they're happy and that works for them, that's great. Because if you look at all the relationships you have that you care about, you know, we could sit here and poke holes in each other's quirks all day. And just look at everything that we do that's insane. And we just sit here and natter at each other about, well, you do this and you're like this and you do that. That's crazy. You know, and I think when you're young at 25, I used to do that a lot to people and be like, well, I don't know if I want to associate with that person because, you know, I saw him pick his nose once. You know, like, what kind of person does that? You know,
gross.
I'm exaggerating, but I mean, like, you know, that's kind of the youthful brain, is that you think everything is so important, and that for some reason your black and white is somewhat the truth. Rather than just like, we're all just trying to figure it out. And I think you're okay. I think you're also okay with your shortcomings as you get older. You're like, nah, it's I just can't figure that out in my life. Right? Like, I'm not very good at that. And I think you're comfortable there, where you're trying to hide it and mask it all the time when you're young. And you're like, I don't want them to know that I'm no good at that. And once you get to a certain age, you're like, yeah, I'm just no good at that. And you just you just carry on with your day.
That actually makes me think of something. I'm glad you brought that up, because for me, the positive of what you just said is that each person has their quirks and their negatives and the things that they're not bad habits, and you may be fighting those your whole life, and probably will. I have mine, but to be able to know, I wish I would have known at 25 that I had a superpower. You know, like, just like you, every person has one, or many, and you know, for I'll speak on your behalf here for a second, is that we love people and we really like interacting with people and getting to know them, and that would be one of our mutual superpowers. And it's like, man, like, I wish I would have known that. That would have been a really cool thing for me to be able to lean into, and I discovered it luckily later on, but that would be something that I took for granted. I just thought that everyone liked people and got along with them and wanted to get to know them and welcome them into their world and their friend circles. Like, it's something that I took for granted back then, and I'm like, I wish all 25-year-olds, so if someone's watching this and they're young, and really, we're all technically young, like, we still have lots of life left, but if you're 25, it's like, know your superpower. What is the one thing or several things that you know that you do so well at? Lean into that. Your career is going to be transformed because of that thing. And it doesn't matter what career you choose, but like, to be able to know that you have a gift and lean into it, don't be shy of it. You're going to have your bad habits potentially forever. Work on them, but really lean into your superpower.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a professional athlete. I always think, like, when they're like, well, you know, like Tiger Woods, say, when he was at his pinnacle, like, well, he would work on his weaknesses, I'm like, in his golf game. He would, because his superpower was golf. Right. So he would work on his weakness in golf. He wouldn't work on being a hockey player.
Right.
Because he's no good at
No,
hockey.
that's sweet, man. Yeah,
he
that's
would
good.
work on what he's best at
Yeah.
and what the weak part of what he's best at.
Yeah.
And so I think that too is like when I was younger, you're like, well, like for me, I'm not organized. Like it's just
What?
It's I'm shocked, you know. And anyone that knows me listens will be like, no. I mean, I think he's being hard on himself. He's quite organized. and I remember just thinking, we got to work on this. My brain just doesn't operate that way. So I just had to figure out ways that I could stay organized for me.
Yeah.
And then you know, as you grow in business, it's about surrounding people that have a strength they need your strength and you need their strength, and that's how great partnerships work, right? But I think I don't need to work on that. What I need to work on is, I do love people and communicating and that kind of stuff. Okay, well, work on your weakness in that strength, because you're not good at the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you work on those things. Work on, you know, going into a room, you know, full of strangers and being more comfortable, because that was hard for me at a young age, because you just haven't hit your confidence yet.
Totally.
So work on those things. Don't try and pick the thing you suck at and get good at it, because, well, that nobody does that, right?
Yeah.
And that's I always think of the professional athlete way is like they don't work on a different sport. They're awesome at this sport, so they work on their weaknesses within that sport. But I think I at a young age, at 25. I wish I would have known that. Like, no, go lean into what you're good at. Like you said, know your superpower, and then really lean in on that, so that you're so much better at that than everyone else.
Yeah, that's such good advice.
And I even think today, how you know that at 25, I think even today you'd be like, man, I'd be so much better than I am today. Mm-hmm. And I think we're always going to feel that way. Mm-hmm. I think that's a natural thing that we get used to as you get older too. Is like, just be okay with, you're always, 10 years from now, we're going to think, if I would have done this 10 years ago, I'd be 10 years better than this now. I think our brains will always do that if you're a person that challenges yourself.
Yeah.
I think you're always going to. Yeah. You're never going to be like, well, did everything perfect last decade. I'm exactly amazing right now. And there's nothing that I would have rather done 10 years ago. I'm perfect. You know,
that sounds nice, but I don't think it's real. This sounds really cheesy in my mind right now, but I'll just say it, is me trying to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Just knowing that I've never arrived. I've never just fully, I've had the best decade. Look at all I've done. I wouldn't have changed the thing. There's always going to be something.
Yep.
And being comfortable in there. Knowing that this is just the way life is, imperfect, and you make the most of it and enjoy it. Lean into the superpowers. Love the people around you. Man, that's a great decade.
Yeah, and I think the forgiveness too. Like, I think when you really dwell on failures and things that you miss when you're 25, you just dwell on them.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older, you get used to being like, oh man, it just didn't work. Like that didn't work. Yeah. It's just an error. Or not even an error. It's education, or you learn. So I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, at the end of the day, that I think from 25 now is that you have to learn that stuff. You're gonna lose, and you need that education. Yeah. And as you lose more, you learn more. And that's same thing. That's cheesy as hell. But as you lose more, you learn more, and that education is needed. Yeah. And so if you get to the 25 to 30, every 5 years, just know that, okay, if I'm losing right now and I don't feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, I still have gained all this education. And that feeling is what I need to feel right now, because that's what's keeping me trying different things. Yeah. If I think I've arrived, those are the people I find that don't grow. If they think they arrived at 25, now I've got it. It's good. So,
I love it. That's good.